Your roadmap to the latest in auto. Welcome to Highway Herald. The US and Canada are locked in a fierce trade standoff, threatening to shake the North American auto industry. One wrong move could send shockwaves through supply chains, factories, and even the price of your next car. Washington thought it had control, but Canada just made a bold counterstrike. How did we get here and what happens next? Buckle up as we break down the 7 key developments. Key number 7. Canada strikes back, a tactical power play. Trade disputes are nothing new, but Canada's latest move has redefined the game. After the US imposed a sudden 25% tariff on Canadian imports, Canada didn't just retaliate, it struck with precision. Rather than a broad counterattack, Ottawa strategically targeted American exports with deep economic and political ties. By slapping tariffs on Kentucky bourbon, Florida orange juice, and electric vehicles, Canada isn't just pushing back, it's sending a powerful message. This isn't about mere politics, it's an economic warning shot, forcing Washington to reconsider its approach. What makes this move so effective? Each tariff hits industries tied to key voter bases, ensuring the economic impact translates into political pressure. As tensions rise, this trade war is no longer just a dispute, it's a full-scale economic standoff with far-reaching consequences. Key number 6. Tesla and the EV sector under siege. Tesla, America's EV powerhouse, has landed in the crosshairs of Canada's trade strategy. The automaker relies heavily on Canadian-sourced nickel, lithium, and aluminum, key materials for battery production. Now, with Canada threatening tariffs or supply restrictions, Tesla's entire supply chain is at risk. This isn't just a hypothetical problem. The impact is already looming large. Higher costs and supply shortages could mean spiking EV prices, production slowdowns, and market instability. Investors are growing uneasy, and the broader EV industry is on edge, watching how this trade war unfolds. But it's bigger than Tesla. This move strikes at the heart of America's entire EV industry. Automakers scrambling to meet demand now face even tighter supply constraints, rising costs, and a potentially delayed EV transition. Canada's bargaining chip in this trade war just became a powerful lever. Key number 5. The auto industry faces a supply chain breakdown. The auto industry thrives on cross-border collaboration, with materials and components constantly moving between the US, Canada, and Mexico. But with new tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, this delicate balance is now under serious threat. Most consumers don't realize how often a single car part crosses borders before a vehicle is assembled. From Detroit to Ontario, every step of production is deeply interconnected. Now, tariffs are disrupting this flow, causing rising costs, supply chain delays, and potential factory shutdowns. And here's the irony. The tariffs meant to protect American manufacturing are actually harming it. With higher costs and job losses looming, Washington may soon face backlash from its own workforce. Canada understands this interdependency well, making the auto sector a key battlefield in this escalating trade standoff. If tensions aren't eased soon, the damage could be irreversible. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now, let's explore key number 4. When trade policy becomes a political minefield. Trade wars don't just impact balance sheets, they can decide elections. And right now, the political fallout is already beginning. At first, US policymakers backed the tariffs, touting them as a way to protect American jobs and industries. But now that factories are feeling the squeeze, prices are climbing, and layoffs are looming, that enthusiasm is starting to fade. Meanwhile, in Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is using this moment to rally national support, painting the counter-tariffs as a necessary move to defend Canadian economic sovereignty. And in the US, politicians in swing states, where factories and agriculture are major economic drivers, are rethinking their stance as they brace for voter backlash. With key elections on the horizon, the pressure to de-escalate is mounting. But will Washington pivot its strategy, or will this trade war keep accelerating toward an uncertain future? Key number 3. Canada's secret weapon, the energy advantage. Beyond tariffs and trade barriers, Canada holds a massive bargaining chip, its energy exports. The US depends heavily on Canadian oil, natural gas, and electricity to power industries and homes. While Canada hasn't weaponized this yet, the mere possibility has Washington on high alert. Imagine if Canada cut oil shipments overnight. Gas prices could double, sending shockwaves through an already fragile economy. Northern states relying on Canadian hydroelectric power could face rolling blackouts, disrupting businesses and daily life. This isn't just a theoretical scenario. It's a real threat with far greater consequences than tariffs. The fact that Canada hasn't played this card suggests it's a last resort strategy, a nuclear option that could reshape North American trade. Unlike tariffs, an energy crisis would have long-term effects, forcing U.S. policymakers to rethink their approach before irreversible damage occurs. Key number 2, the global ripple effect, a trade war that won't stay local. What began as a U.S.-Canada standoff has now triggered a global economic shift. European nations are reworking trade policies, searching for new partners to hedge against North America's instability. Meanwhile, China is capitalizing on the situation, forging stronger economic ties with Canada to fill the void left by lost U.S. business. And it's not just major economies making moves. Developing nations are stepping in, taking advantage of gaps left by weakened American trade dominance. The longer this trade war continues, the more the U.S. risks eroding its long-term influence. Trade disputes aren't just about tariffs and balance sheets. They're about trust and economic alliances. As former allies reconsider their loyalties, Washington faces a growing risk of isolation. If the U.S. doesn't act soon, this fallout could reshape global trade for decades. Key number 1, the real cost: everyday people pay the price. While politicians debate tariffs and trade restrictions, the real burden falls on everyday citizens. Grocery prices are climbing, fuel costs fluctuate unpredictably, and small businesses struggle to afford imported goods. Meanwhile, factory workers face growing uncertainty as the manufacturing sector takes heavy losses. For consumers, this isn't just a policy discussion, it's a daily financial struggle. Trade wars may be fought in conference rooms, but their impact hits household budgets and job markets hard. Even if a resolution were reached tomorrow, the economic scars would take years to heal. Here's the harsh truth: supply chains don't recover overnight. Shuttered businesses won't reopen instantly, and lost jobs won't be easily replaced. The American public is growing restless, questioning how much longer they can endure these economic hardships before demanding real change from their leaders. Final verdict: an unexpected economic battle with lasting consequences. What started as a strategic maneuver has snowballed into one of the most significant trade conflicts in modern history. The battle between Canada and the U.S. has outgrown its initial premise. It's no longer just about tariffs. It's about power, influence, and the shifting dynamics of global trade. The big question remains: how far will this go? Will the U.S. double down, escalating the conflict even further? Or will economic pressures force Washington to reconsider its approach before the damage becomes irreversible? And that's where we turn it over to you. What do you think? Are we witnessing a complete realignment of North American trade, or will cooler heads eventually prevail? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the discussion rolling. And don't forget, subscribe to Highway Herald for more in-depth analysis on the biggest automotive industry shakeups. Hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest updates on the cars, companies, and policies shaping the future of driving. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one.